Good.
I shouldn't even say that because it
Here we are in Kamisu, Japan. The group stages are finished, the warm-ups are done, and now it's playoff time. For the nations that remain, everything is on the line. The intensity rises, the pressure mounts, and every throw, every block, and every sky carries the weight of a season. The people on the stream and the crowd feels it, and the players know it. From here on out, there are no second chances. This is the knockout stage. This is where heroes are made and the dreams can end. It's simple. Win or go home. Welcome to the Asia Oceanic Ultimate Championships. My name is John DeSantis, and join with me is Avril Tam as we're here in the playoff matchups between Ghana and Chinese Taipei.
And what a beautiful way to start day 4. The sun is shining, the fields are drained, there's grass, no wind, no wet. Players really enjoying this opportunity to shine on the big stage.
Indeed, and these are two nations that are looking to punch their ticket into the semifinal rounds. See here the screen. This is Chinese Taipei that will start on D, and they've been having an excellent round of games throughout this tournament so far, Avril.
Yeah, absolutely. Chinese Taipei, they are representing their region, worked very hard in the preparations. Players from all over Chinese Taipei commuting twice a week to train together, plus play multiple friendly matches. So certainly a very well-tuned team.
And here we go up. It looks like going to be a match person defense going to be shown for Ghana. Swing down the middle, all the way to the right side. Great movement so far by Chinese Taipei. Make quick movements. Pass a little too high there, but able to get it in, and they get their first score. Chinese Taipei up 1.
And there is a call.
There is a call indeed. Looks like... Oh, but looks like it'll be already agreed upon as Chinese Taipei get that first score. Clean hold at that.
Beautiful way to start the day. As we said, the conditions very favourable for Frisbee. Just a light thrower's breeze or not even. And Chinese Taipei very quick to score. I think that point was barely 20 seconds, John. And so certainly making use of the changed conditions.
And I think when trying to get a chat with several volunteers to get a point of view of how Chinese Taipei plays so far, it's to that point really fast-paced, not giving any moment for their opponents to set up shop as far as defense goes.
Yeah, and checking out their earlier stream in the tournament, certainly looks like they rotate in their offensive line. Very system-based play rather than relying on, people stuck in the axis handler space or back or upfield. They certainly like to rotate, use their legs. And as you said, the stall count not rising before 2 before the disc was released.
Indeed, and we'll see how Gona equally as fast as they can and a little bit more experience. And looks like Chinese Taipei is going to set up a little bit of zone defense here early.
Yeah, clogging up the space in the middle here, trying to force them to go side, but they looks like they'll collapse the match very fast.
Indeed, it does. It looks like Gona, quick pass there, able to read it in. Great movement to the middle, but just goes through his hands. Gona with their early turnover as well.
I think just wary of the end zone line there. Wanted to catch and jump it in, but was looking at the line as they were trying to catch and just that small lapse of focus there, trying to do 2 things at once, not working out for Gona.
Indeed. Chinese Taipei with an early chance to a break opportunity. Swing it here to number 32.
So Gona has also opted for a zone defense.
And this is a little bit of the chess play we're going to expect. And a quick hop here in response. Who's going to win it here? And looks like Gona denies that. Very
well read by the deep. And there is a call on the throw, I think, from that huck.
Looks like that. And that looks like what Chinese Taipei's response for the zone defense. They're going to send it deep as they have a strength in their long game as well. So we'll see if that's going to be what they're going to do moving here.
I think it was an interesting strat for Gona to actually come out on Zone D because they started on offense, right? And it's not that often that you see a zone set up after the offense turnover. So interesting that both teams have gone for a Zone D tactic despite the conditions actually probably be less favorable for those structures.
Indeed. And yes, to your point, for an O-line at that, it's very rare to see an O-line go to a zone defense. So maybe something they talked about to prepare themselves for this quarterfinal matchup.
Yeah, or even just trying to surprise the opponent, I think, put on something that they don't expect and try to get them on the back foot early.
And it looks like it will go back to the Chinese Taipei handler at that.
Yeah, I think there'll be some discussion about the stall count. So it looks like it's coming in on 3. So imagine that would be a contested call.
And this will be Liao Shihyang. We have the disc back with him.
And you can't see it in the frame right now, but they've got a deep there. So if they get it flat enough, not allowing the defender to get in the way, they go up for a short option.
Here we go. Chinese Taipei, quick 1-2 move between the handlers. As you can see, amazing threading pass there. And another one at that. Chinese Taipei annihilating the zone defense so far. And here we go. Right in the middle. Chinese Taipei. Liao. Some great handler defense there, denying that dump. He will get it back here, trap on the sidelines. It's not where you want to be if you're Chinese Taipei, and he recognized it immediately. A little bit contact here.
I don't mind this though. Early days, first few points, making those calls, teasing out the acceptable level of contact. We did notice that the teams gathered for a spirit circle with their leadership group pre-game and the game advisors, and they did have a chat about that. So I like that the teams are being proactive in that space.
Indeed, and here's Liao, dumps it to his teammate, number 9. Huang gives it back to Liao. A little bit too back, but able to secure it, his teammate.
Gona sticking with their zone defense all the way here in red zone.
And here the trap on the other side. Liao looks like he is going to be the steady hander. The cheeky pass there. Laser focus for Chinese Taipei's second score. And first break opportunity converted.
Clean break opportunity, in fact. So they've started with a clean hold and now with a clean break. That quick movement. And when we say quick movement, we mean quick in terms of the stall count not rising, right? Quick, they're basically throwing on stall 1 or stall 2. Very narrow spaces. Interesting, as we said, Gona opting for a zone defense and a zone defense all the way to that red zone, which meant those little channels on the side were available for Chinese Taipei to take advantage.
Indeed there, and just that slight miscommunication with Gona's defense enabled Liao to laser that pass for the second score. And we'll see if Gona's going to run that zone defense all throughout, if that's something that they're looking to put in early, and they see if they go to the match person defense. Because as we were talking with the Gona team, most of them are extremely young and agile, as you learned, right?
Yeah. A lot of them are high school age. In fact, the youngest player celebrated her 17th birthday yesterday.
Indeed, right? And that makes me feel extremely old there, but happy birthday to the Gona player, and see if they can celebrate more as they get a chance to get their first point. Someone streaking deep for Gona, but also for a short game. It looks like a pick is going to be called.
Yeah, so this time Chinese Taipei coming out in a match defense. You can see a vert stack set up by Gona for the offensive structure.
This is Matsuhashi with the disc. He's looking downfield, but stall count is rising. And looks like a foul is going to be called. Something to take notice here. A lot of physicality in the marking score between this team. And it's important to take notice is this is the quarterfinals match.
Yeah, but an immediate accept. And I think also to that point, both teams pivoting really low and wide. So, you have to respect that space as a defender, but very difficult when you've got such length to cover.
And here's Anabuki looking, being able to pass it to her teammate, Kurihara. Looking for a bladey forehand pass there.
Very congested in this underspace.
Ooh, tight pass there, complete nonetheless. Able to bring it to the other side. And just an unfortunate error again.
So Gona, the nerves here really getting to them. They've worked their way really well upfield, but just that congestion in the underspace, having to force those throws into tiny channels, in the end, one too much to ask for.
And it looks like you're going to stick again to a zone defense for the O-line. Very interesting tactic there, Avril.
Yeah, a couple of travels quickly corrected by both sides.
Here's number 91. Bang. Oh, what a cheeky high release pass there. Looks like that's gonna their response against this zone. Quick 1-2 player between Chinese Taipei. Trap here with number 85. Oh, and that's their first error there for Chinese Taipei. Good response for the zone defense from Gona.
Absolutely. Oh, run and gun now. They go through, they whip through. This time they work it through the channel.
And looks like, are they able to punch it through? And they will for their first score. Gona up, not up, but their first point rather.
Yeah, on the board, Gona. So those early nerves, just feeling a little shaky. When we spoke to one of their players pre-game, she did say that they're feeling quite nervous, but also really excited. It's a big game, a big quarterfinal here at the Asia Oceanic Ultimate Championship. So huge stage to be on. And I'm sure some of these younger players here, really, really keen to show what they've got.
Indeed, and for Gona's sake, able to finish 5-0 in their pool play. Excellent showing with great games against Freak Show as well. I think that was the only close game. In other games, they were able to blow them out. So this will be one of their few first tests. Tournament.
Yeah, that's a really good point, John. I think, like you said, Freak Show was their very first game of the tournament where they won 15-11. That was the closest margin. The other results have been 15-5, 15-8, 15-6, and 15-6. And we talked about this morning, didn't we, John? Sometimes if you haven't really had too much of a challenge in a competition, that match-hardened mental intensity might take a little longer to switch on, and that certainly has been evident early this game.
Exactly. Right on point there, Avril, as we discussed. And for Gona's sake, they have to take these small repetitions in these points to be able to, oh look, this is the tightly contested match that we should be expecting. Let's adjust quickly as possible if we want to win this game.
So Gona this time opting for a match defense and starting on D, but Chinese Taipei finding the small holes.
And this will be the first D-line experience from Gona, so we'll see. Oh, but just like that quick.
2 Easy indeed. I mean, a feature of Chinese Taipei's offensive style. They have not missed a beat coming into this quarterfinal.
If Speed had a picture, it would be Chinese Taipei right there. Just quick annihilation of Gona. I wasn't able to see their match defense there.
Yeah, I don't think they could even find their players. They were just going down the field so fast. Actually, you know what, John? I remember when we were talking to Guam earlier in the tournament, one of the players said, Chinese Taipei are the fastest team I've ever seen. And, you know, case exemplified.
Indeed, and like Ghana's gonna figure out the way, and I think that's why they want to, and that's probably the reason why they want to put that zone defense in the first 2 points with the O-line, just to see if they can slow it down. And now switch it up to match person. I can see the coaches on the sideline from Ghana. Looks like they're gonna adjust accordingly in that speed to see how they can slow it down.
Yeah, for sure. I think, you know, the pressure is on when offense, you know, score. The time on that score was 1:55, but when you take out, you know, the line calls and all of that, it was probably, I don't know, like 10 seconds or something, not even like a full stall count.
Indeed.
But yeah, when your offense is able to score quickly, it means it puts the pressure very fast back onto the other team. So that pressure does start to build and accumulate.
Indeed, and here's Ghana, and looks like a little
Offside.
bit,
Offside
looks
call.
like, correct. Was curious to see why a lot of Ghana players were open in that 1-2. It looks like an offside is going to be called.
The players are very slow to wander back in. And so the offside call was actually made by Chinese Taipei, right?
Correct. And it looks like some discussion about, probably some of the players are now, from a Ghana side, curious about the call. And take some little time for translation between these two teams. Perhaps that's taking some of the time.
Yeah, that is very true. So you see here the players on the sideline in full force, trying to give to their team as much as possible in this big game. Have to say, this mixed division has been very interesting, John. It feels like it's wide open. It could be anyone to win it.
Indeed, we were having that very difficult conversation yesterday, Avril, about who's going to win it. And so far, it's anyone's game here. So, as you say, it's wide open. There's Team Islam, Ghana, Chinese Taipei, not even mentioning Singapore, Philippines, as we get back to this action here.
Oh, and that's a fumble in the end zone. The nerves really getting to Ghana at the moment.
And just like that, Chinese Taipei scores number 4.
An incredibly fast start. Goodness me, Chinese Taipei, blink and you'll miss it. Surely there's going to be a timeout called by Ghana. They've got to reset and regather.
I mean, I'm just a little bit surprised in terms of that error. It was so close into their end zone. Very uncharacteristics from Ghana there.
Yeah, but, you know, with that offside call, right, it meant that they had to start with the disc all the way in their end zone. And I saw the Chinese Taipei defense set up really well to cover all those under options. So they were baiting either a long throw or baiting for that wide swing. They did eventually get that wide swings here, but a little bit too much float and maybe just a bit wary of the line as well. So running out of space there behind, had to opt for that sideway and, yeah, just a quick pick up and go. And look at the celebrations by Chinese Taipei. They have got the groove and the moves on. That was 65, Jiang Yang Cheng with the goal.
And we're having this discussion of see Ghana here. Definitely youth, speed, and athleticism is their advantage, but we were just a little bit, would say not questioning, but the question really is the experience something that might be lacking for Ghana here? And so far, maybe that's something that they really need to develop and try to change.
Yeah, as we said, we have a lot of youth on this team, a lot of players in the under-20s category and some still in high school. Although saying that, like, Ghana has evolved from a football, or soccer in Australia, a football club, right? So some of these players are playing both soccer, football, and ultimate during the entire year. So they are experienced athletes, you know, they are dedicated to their craft. And I'm sure it's just that little mental adjustment, you know.
Correct.
For one, yeah, sure, they're 2 breaks down, but it's early days in this game, and they can make inroads. They just have to try and get on the same page, reset, settle the nerves, play easy frisbee, and you know, there's not much in it, really.
Indeed, and for this case, as you're looking at the screen, Chinese Taipei, again, for this team, also an exit showing with a record of 4-1 in their pool play, just losing against none other than the mighty Philippines, which was an excellent game. I heard that was a really evenly matched, but the strong rains to their comments really affected their play against Philippines. So they're looking to bounce back from here.
It is interesting talking to the coaching staff pre-game. They said that yesterday, with the very wet conditions, people were literally swimming in pools, right? They just were worried about player safety, and that was their priority, and they managed to get through with no injuries. And says, oh, and a fantastic bid! But there's going to be a foul call, I'm sure.
Hopefully, she looks nursing her leg there. See, there's some discussion. Looks like a foul.
Yeah, she's just bounced back up pretty quickly for that, but quickly indicated calling the foul, and we get some translation assistance here. So there was that slash cut coming from that Gona player from right to left, and then the Chinese Taipei defender coming from downfield. So the Gona player didn't have vision of that play coming. It looked like she reached over the shoulder, so whether she made enough contact to affect that right arm of the Gona player, I think that will probably be the discussion.
Indeed. To your point, because the Gona player wasn't expecting Chinese Taipei to be able to flash that quickly to her position. So that's the discussion we have.
I do like that defensive intensity from Chinese Taipei, though. Clearly, they've picked their timing, some very aggressive defense. Although, as we talked about earlier, just trying to ascertain the level of contact and make sure that everyone's safety really is prioritized.
And just like that, it will go back to number 25, Matsuhashi. And Matsuhashi, actually, for Gona, is the leading assist maker with 11 assists in this tournament. So look to see as we quickly go back to the action here. Quick movements from Gona. From side to side, able to recognize the open player. Threading pass. Is it too good, too low? It looks like it's good. For second score of Gona.
What a way to come out of that timeout, John. This is exactly what Gona needed. They just needed to take a breath, settle their nerves, play the game, get comfortable in this big quarterfinal matchup. And, clean hold to boot. This is their first clean hold of the game. Sorry, second clean hold of the game to go up 2-4. So when they're on, they can also move the disc very fast, John.
Correct. And it looks like great responses against each of the team's each of the team's zone defense, right? So interesting to see if they're going to maintain that. And I think for both nations, they just want to get that out of the way so far in terms of, okay, how are these teams going to respond to zone defense? If they feel it's not going to do a lot of they're comfortable with I'm pretty sure they're athletic enough to be comfortable to do a match person defense.
Yeah, for sure. So both teams coming out initially on Zone D and now opting for a match structure. We will see how this evolves. And you hear a lot of cheering from the sidelines. Nice to hear the sideline players give to the on-field teammates. That's a nice rolling pull to get things pinned to the sideline. Oh, and that's pressure on the first pass. Gona, number 99, Tomizawa getting in the way.
Looks like he twisted his ankle there with that amazing bid to block. I hope nothing is too major as far as injury goes. A little shaken up. Good to see that he stay in this game. Here's Chinese Taipei. Easy thump. Upline was denied there.
I think this is... foul call. I was about to say, I think that's the first time that the Chinese Taipei offense line has held the disc for more than 3 seconds.
Indeed, yes. And looks like a little tad slower than we anticipated. But again, credits to Gona in response to their defense. Trapped here on the other side of this field. Chinese Taipei dumps it to his teammates. Looks like a flat mark here with Gona being initiated on the cup. And here we go, looking downfield. A lot of movements in the middle. Not seeing a lot of options here. Laser pass there to thread it twice again. Chinese Taipei making easy work. Right near their end zone. See if they're going to get. And here's Gona still sticking with their zone defense. Able to get it through for their 5th point.
Ooh, so, look, I think Gona's made inroads here. Chinese Taipei, they scored that and still quite convincingly, but it was a much slower point, John. You know, multiple players having to hold the disc for 3 or 4 seconds, look for the dump, look for things to evolve. And I think that's credit to the Gona defense. So, as you mentioned during the play, a very flat mark, and then I saw a number of switches in that under space, and someone sagging off sitting in the deep to deter that long option. So I think really well coordinated by the Zona defense. It wasn't quite a full zone, but I'd say it was like a switchy match in the under space, and that really forced some higher risk options by Chinese Taipei. So that was a switch that didn't quite work out and exposed here. So once they get up to this side, the defense struggling to contain, they do now. And then Yang just faking that cheeky backhand, but yeah, they just didn't get those switches on quite enough. And they also had, that deep player out the back, like you can see in the picture too.
Probably something to take notice. I think the one that's marking that hand there has to have that conscious effort not to bite in all of the fakes, right? Just maintain that flat marking, because when you notice, if they bite in those fakes, that's where Chinese Taipei was able to thread those passes to the forward, to make a forward pass.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to trust your teammates, right? You got to trust that you're covering this particular throw. They're going to cover those other spaces.
Indeed, and here we go. It looks like
is it an offside call?
Another offside's being called again. Second time for Gona to be called offside, and this will give.
Yeah, so the O-line just a little bit sloppy, running up to start the point.
As you can see, the beautiful sideline here of all the spectators enjoying this excellent quarterfinals match between Gona and Chinese Taipei.
And this time you see the umbrellas out, but more for the UV than for the rain. So multi-purpose, really.
But again, I prefer this sun any time of the day from the huge storm that we experienced the past few days.
Very tight cup there, Chinese Taipei, but Gona slice their way through.
And here we go, swing down to the side, number 5.
Oh, 4-person cup, but look, it's almost like a quadruple team.
Indeed, that. Oh, and just like that, that causes the turnover, forces that pass, errant pass. Again, Chinese Taipei has a short field to work with.
Surely this is a one throw done. Want to get this over quick. So Gona trying to set up some bracketing, you can see, covering the top of stack. Oh, and they score Chinese Taipei in one throw, but there is a call.
And there is a call, but you can see that high release pass again from Chinese Taipei.
Yep, so Gona's defense, they had a bracket. So there's one person covering the open side, one person covering the break side, one person covering the front of stack, and then of course the dump and then downfield as well. So they were covering the spaces more than the people. So as the cuts evolve, it will be interesting to see if they can adjust and switch back or stick on match. So really dangerous here for Gona.
Indeed, and here's number 91. It's going to start play again. Peng Quang Shen. (22 years old), actually one of the handlers for their D-line, so look to see. As you look at that, again, that high release pass. Excellent pass made.
They're going to have to replay that one, but Lau Chi-Young, number 86, he's already on the board with 2 assists, so he's looking and licking his lips for a goal. I have to say, he's been really involved on their D-line. When they turn it over, he's been involved in a big chain of possessions. Oh, and he does get the disc here. Cops a bit of contact. Very congested in front of the disc. Surely they look to go wide. They opt to go behind. And lots of noise from the sideline causes that turnover.
Great showing from Gona there in response. And here's Gona. You can see the sideline cheering on that, egging on the Gona teammates. Quick movement to the middle here. Here, equally fast Gona is against the zone defense. 1-2 pass between each other. Here we go. Floats it to the end zone for the score. Amazing response in speed by Gona.
Urahara there with the goal. Gona, I thought it was only 2 seconds ago they were on the other end defending for their life, but crucial, dangerous end zone defense there. Convert that into offense. What a way to get your spirits up. I really hope this is the spark that Gona really continue to push through.
Indeed, and a sorry miss from Chinese Taipei. Looks like the handler from the Chinese Taipei was already expecting the second pass before the catch. So, as we see here, look, just bobbled through his hands and fingers there, and here Gona quickly making them pay.
I have to say, kudos to the sideline, right? Because I think the volume and the noise, that really also intimidated the offense, right? When you've got noisy sideline, your defense on song just adds that extra pressure in this big quarterfinal match. Maybe some slight nerves from Chinese Taipei now showing through.
Indeed.
Oh, that's a beautiful, almost rolled out, but managed to stay in and continue on, so got some extra beaters too.
Here we go again. Zone defense still being shown in Gona. They're really sticking with their guns here. Again, they have to stop that forward pass. A little more conscious effort on the flat marking there.
Yeah, so Gona with a zone. 3 in the front, but as you say, they just zip through way too easily.
Way too easy that, and here's Chinese Taipei, number 11. Swings it to number 7 now. Yu dumps it to his teammate. Great threading pass again to annihilate that zone. Chinese Taipei easily scores their 6th point.
Annihilate. Absolutely right, John. The Chinese Taipei team absolutely shooting through this Gona zone defense. They're going to have to make some adjustments in their D because they're not really causing any trouble at all for Chinese Taipei. Their O-line just on song. No hesitation with any of those around break throws, particularly using this close sideline as well, John. So, yeah, those flat marks not quite working well enough for Gona.
I think the adjustment that they felt, as we look at the replay first, as you can see, once they initiate that poor man stomp, easy pickings on that forward pass. There's no any sort of defense there on that, or any mark that for that matter. I think the adjustment, I feel, is they have to tighten up that cup, force it to one side then, and try to make Chinese Taipei make a decision.
Yeah, I think the forcing side to side, Chinese Taipei are showing that their skills are well too good to cause any trouble. So, like you say, force one way, forcing middle. That might be a different look that you can try and force them to do something else instead of just continue this staggeringly fast rhythm. But yeah, Chinese Taipei, their O-line is 4 from 4, 100% holds at the moment.
And here, Gona is going to start a little bit in the middle path of this, a middle part of this field. And here's Chinese Taipei's zone defense. Had to go some negative yardage there, going backwards to reset the disc for Gona. Number 4, quick pass to his teammate. Here we go, Gona again, equally fast and be able to respond and kindly for their 4th point.
That was a beautiful passage of play. Blink and you'll miss it. So Gona saying, Chinese Taipei, you might be able to score quickly, but so can we. That was no problem whatsoever. In fact, that offensive hold was, I think, barely a minute on the clock.
Indeed, and I think they're going to give Usain Bolt a run for his money there. Just, again, probably around 10 to 11 seconds there as far as how quickly they're able to go to their attacking end zone, as we see here in the replay.
Actually, you know, the World Athletics Championship is coming up in Tokyo, 13th to 21st of September. So, like you say, maybe some of these Gona players a sneaky chance at representing Japan.
I wouldn't be surprised, but I'm a little bit of an athletics fan there, and Japan has actually performed well in that note, so I wouldn't be surprised if we can see some Gona players here represent. But again, down 2-0, they can't just trade baskets here. I mean, they have to. I'm curious to see what kind of defense they're going to set up. It looks like it's going to be another zone defense. I'm just curious, Avril, what are you going to, if you're Gona here, you're going to do zone defense, but what do you want to particularly see here?
Well, like you said, I think, let's just have a look at this setup first, though. So they've got 3 front, but this is looking more like a match. I'm not sure what this last person is doing over here. They are not covering any particular space or being a threat. I would have liked to see, so you had the kind of initial 3 in the stack, and then you had this 4th person wide. They kind of crept in, but they didn't creep in enough. And so they were just not covering anything at all. And so I think it's just that adjustment of the positioning on defense needs a little bit of work.
Indeed, and I think what Chinese Taipei took advantage, noticing they might be a little bit quicker against that from the cup. So you can see that they attacked that cup and then went up line, and there was no defense at all there, for no pressure at all from Gona. Again, interesting to see, as you can see quickly, you can see that.
Yeah, I can see the height and the length differential as well. I mean, too easy for the male matching handlers of Gona. Really just having the length and the height to pick things off in front of the female defenders. So maybe another option is to change the personnel, you know, bring in some maybe taller players with a bit of height, bit more length in that front cup, just to try to deter that first pass. Because I think if you can invest, you know, some resources trying to stop that initial first pass in the first look for Chinese Taipei, that will go a long way with stopping the flow, or at least, you know, mitigating and slowing them down.
Indeed, and here's Gona. Quick 1-2 action between the players. And here's Chinese Taipei sticking with their zone defense as well. But Gona, leaping catch there, layout and all to keep that disc alive. Gona, number 51. Thought about it.
Big throw, cross field, Blade, and Gona take another clean hold. 5-7.
Great response, and again, you can see Gona, right? They're really confident against any zone defense there. Equally so, as that's number 4, Yotsuba Anabuki with the score.
I definitely agree. It feels like that timeout was a turning point for Gona. After they were broken twice to go down 1-4, they've managed to chip away. They've actually managed to get several clean holds in a row, and the last 4 points very tidy and very quick for both teams. We are ready up to 5-7 and nearing halftime.
I'd like to see Gona go for a match person defense here, right? I feel like in terms of sense of urgency, trying to get before, not force a second half for Gona, right? Just to try to see something different so far, because zone defense not doing anything good for them.
Yeah, and actually, remember we had that earlier point where there was a slasher cross. Correct. And there was actually that defense from downfield coming in. I mean, it was a foul and it went back and everything, but that match defense looked really good because it actually allowed the one-on-one and that pressure on the hip, and sometimes just that body presence as well. You know, that perceived pressure can also really add to your defensive kind of aura.
And see, as the pool will sail out of bounds.
So I have to say kudos to Gona for managing to settle the nerves after that kind of nervy first quarter, and certainly looking much more smooth and feeling and looking much more comfortable like they have been all tournament.
It looks like they're going to be on a match person defense here.
Well called, John.
Interesting to see how Gona can match up. They definitely have the young and athletic personnel here. Again, some discussion about probably the physicality and the marking. Here we go, Chinese Taipei. Moves it down the middle. Here we go, quick movements. A little bit of flat mark here. Oh, and a quick backhand hawk. It's gonna be won by Gona. Break opportunity for Gona.
That is the very first turnover from the Chinese Taipei O-line, John.
And I think, as you can see, that matchup defense from Gona going well for them. First, here's their break opportunity you've been waiting for.
Yeah, what a time to get it as well, just before half when you're down 5-7 and you're just slowly eking back point by point, putting a bit more pressure on. I think this is a very smart, strategic adjustment here from the Gona coaches. They really have to treasure the disc here, John.
Here's number 25, Matsuhashi. Matsuhashi looking. Dumps it to number 5, Shimada. Miyamoto there, but here, quick movement so far, Nagai. Backhand pass is fake. Gives it to his teammate. Not a lot of long cuts here, but someone's streaking deep here. It'll be too fast, but layout finish is no good.
He got a hand to that, just couldn't close her fingers around it. In the end, it bounces off. That was a prime opportunity and very interesting setup for that cut, John. I actually saw about 3 cuts coming under. I thought, why are there so many players coming into his under space? It was to open up that deep space, to isolate that player one-on-one. And he had steps, he had the separation. It was just a little bit too low, a little bit too quick to control in the end.
Great effort nonetheless by Nagai there to try to reel it in for Gona. As you see the young kids Excellent to see these cute kids. I'm missing my children all of a sudden. I'm seeing these cute kids being able to witness such a high intensity ultimate frisbee game here.
Absolutely kawaii, and they're hoping for Gona to have a very kawaii point as well. Now, you know, I mean, I think this is actually a really good sign of Chinese Taipei showing some showing some cracks basically, right? This is the first time that the O-line has turned over the disc, and they've also got field position.
I noticed that they called timeout immediately. It looks like to try to catch their breath and also talk about, look, we're seeing this intensity rising up from Gona, so we gotta to calm ourselves down.
Yes, yes.
As we see here in the replay, and that great put, and the guy was tracking it all at the end, and he had it. He had it momentarily. It just bounced out of his hand.
Yeah, the fingers just weren't able to close it and stop rotation because it was coming, you know, with a little bit of outside in edge. So that's going to kind of blade into your hand, and very tricky when you're completely horizontal.
A flat mark initiated by Koihara from Gona. Someone was there but unable to get it here. Chinese Taipei taking advantage. Hawk here from Chinese Taipei. It's going to float right into the end zone. Bang!
77. What a reception. That was incredibly nervy to hold the space for Chiu Man Chi. That was some nerve by Chinese Taipei O-line, having given up possession for the first time, having to work all the way up from their defending end zone. And their classic quick movement, John, again proving too strong for Gona. So is that enough to put out Gona's little momentum rise as Chinese Taipei take the first half, 8-5?
And that was number 77, Chiu Man Chi from Chinese Taipei. As you take a look at the replay, amazing presence of mind to reel it in and get the 8-point as we approach half here with Chinese Taipei again. But still, I think Gona is going to be a little bit happy with that, knowing that, look, they can perform well in match person defense. And we'll take a short break here in the quarterfinals matches between Gona and Chinese Taipei. Live from Kamiso City, this is the Asia Oceanic Championships.
そっちが落としたとき。あ、はい。だよね。オッケーオッケー。うん。以上。オッケー。次は、まあ、特にはないんですけど、トラベルの部分がこちらは気にします。ありがとう。ありがとう。まあ、お互い気持ちよく行きましょう。ありがとうございます。ありがとうございます。
The only feedback we would have is that watch the offsides and false starts, and I've noticed, or we've noticed, on the mark there's a fair bit of racking, so a bit of illegal marking, which is causing contact. And I don't know if that's something you guys are okay with, but if there's plenty of contact, it might lead to calls and stuff like that. So be conscious of that.
When we call the offside, they can move, right?
Once the disc is called, they need to stay where they are.
Stay. Okay. 要他们说，如果我们有 offside 的话，他们就不能走。
オフサイドの時は、キャッチのところでみんなは止まってほしい。移動するはできない。
等我们上去之后，他们
チェックしたら、ムフ。チェックしたら動いて OK。はい。動いて OK。はい。じゃあ。
Excellent. Cool.
じゃあまた何かあったらそちらに。もちろん。はい。ありがとうございます。ありがとうございます。
And welcome back in the second half of this exciting quarterfinals match in the mixed division between Chinese Taipei and Gona. And Chinese Taipei with an early 3-point lead here, Avril.
Exciting indeed. Make sure you watch back the highlights from this game later on. Chinese Taipei came out absolutely firing. Their offensive line were 4 from 4 for clean holds, and their D-line had 2 clean breaks to get that first quarter going, to go up 2 breaks. But Gona, their nerves started to settle. They managed to get a couple of clean holds and then actually finally make the Chinese Taipei O-line turn over the disc in that last point of the half. They couldn't convert the opportunity, but you could feel that ascendancy, you could feel, that vibe working together as a team. And I'm hoping that they can continue this momentum increasing in the second half.
And here it looks like another discussion with the marking. And notice in the halftime, it looks some discussion again about the physicality and a little bit of the tightness in that marking. And it's evident here between these two teams. Oh, and an early turnover here from Gona, not going well.
Not the way they would have wanted to start this first half.
And here we go, Chinese Taipei with an early break opportunity. Trying to widen the gap. Zone defense from Gona again. Chinese Taipei. Quick 1-2. Number 86. Not yet quite in. They're able to punch it through.
Oh, and that is heartbreak for Gona after they had caused that turnover in that last point. They clearly had the momentum, the halftime break. Obviously having cooled down a little bit. Chinese Taipei reset, and the D-line bringing out the intensity. I have to say their D-line has been an absolute feature of this game so far, John.
Probably what they would say the saying that goes for any sport: defense wins championships, Avril. It's evident here for Chinese Taipei, and another unforced error from going on that pass, just unable to secure it in, as we see here.
Yeah, I mean, we say unforced error, right? But we were talking about the presence, like the really tight match defense that Chinese Taipei have put on. So that physical presence when you're right next to your opponent and you're zipping through, making bids, that's just caused a little bit of hesitancy, a little bit of, nervousness. And I think, some of the defensive pressure in the early part of the game has really paid dividends now.
And here's Gona trying to get their first point in the second half. Pass was a little too high, but able to reel it in. Forward pass here. Quickly, number 3, looking. Send it to the middle. Here's Gona. Great passes here from Gona. Oh, and able to sneak it through Chinese Taipei.
What an intercept block, and you hear the sideline go wild on the very last pass. Somehow Chinese Taipei come up with the disc.
And here we go. Chinese Taipei. Again, another zone defense from the O-line. Would like to see if they can just switch it up to a match here because they're just quickly getting annihilated.
Still in the end zone now. They finally get out. Oh, when Chinese Taipei, a travel call just to stymie the flow. So, gosh, Gona, look, you've got the 4 players back now, having to catch up and contain. I reckon we're going to see maybe 5 more seconds of play, and Chinese Taipei probably going to score. That has been the fashion so far.
And you can see the sideline from Chinese Taipei ecstatic from there, and the other side, Gona, just really shocked.
Yeah, I wanted to say earlier in the point that clearly Chinese Taipei had come out with intent this point. Their sideline from both sides were really high volume. You could hear them echo across the field. So clearly this was a point that they had, pinpointed that we want another D. We want this D line to get up. We are going to run away with this game. So very clear intent by Chinese Taipei to prioritize this point.
You see some look of nervousness from the Gona spectators there. You can see here number 86 from Chinese Taipei, who's been featured a lot in the D-line, Chi Hyang Liao.
Yeah, an interpreter coming on to assist here with the communication along with the game advisor.
And we're noticing that in this game so far, a lot of, let's say, back and forth discussions between both of the teams, trying to simmer down probably the physicalities or the calls. So,
I mean, I don't think there's been a lot of contact per se. It's just that mark, right?
Correct.
It's really close, or maybe it's wrapping, or
Correct.
As the thrower's pivoting, the defense is maybe not adjusting the angle of their corresponding movement quite as well as hoped.
And here we go back in the action. Chinese Taipei looks like they're going to switch to a match person defense. Gona does.
Yeah, I think that's
excellent
cool.
Marking on the handlers, making it hard for Chinese Taipei. And that's what we want from Gona. Here's number 6. Number 6, Chow. Able to get it through here. For backhand pass is going to be complete layout. Is good. Looks like some unfortunate contact between 2 players.
Brave by both players. That wasn't a way kind of upline shape cut, and the downfield defender being very aggressive, trying to get in the way of that completion. They were close, but not close enough, and I think in the end, unfortunate to have maybe a head collision between those players. So we'll give them some time to make sure the player safety is prioritized. You can see the hard-working medic tent right there, conveniently able to attend to the players very quickly. So what a point, John. Chinese Taipei, like I said, with intent here, but now a couple of stoppages will flatten things out and allow Gona to take a reset and try to wrangle this back.
I hear a little bit of look of nervousness from Chinese Taipei as they look upon their player. I think that was 86, number 86, Chi Hyang Liao, that's on the ground there.
Yeah, I think if he goes out of the game, that's a huge loss for Gona, particularly for their D-line. He's just been so integral to them converting their points. And I guess reflecting on the game at large, John, I think one feature is that the offensive points have been very efficient, right? So the duration of points for both sides, actually, but particularly Chinese Taipei, less than 2 minutes on the clock, right? we've got, 110, 140, 2 minutes. It's just been really efficient. And Gona certainly have also had their efficient points too, but just not quite as consistently as Chinese Taipei have. And that's been one difference between the two offenses. When we look at the defense side, obviously Chinese Taipei, their D-line has actually converted their breaks. They've had 3 clean breaks in total already. Gona, they've actually managed 1 break opportunity, but not being able to convert it has been a really difficult one. If they managed to get that break before half, that would have really, I think, pushed their confidence up and maybe, allow them to start with a little bit more pizzazz in the second. So I think players are staying on field, and obviously, injury call, but also with also in terms of the discussion and the foul and where the dish should go. Should it go back? So there's like 2 parts to this call, the injury part and then the actual call itself.
All good. It's all good. Yeah. See, look at the discussion here on the sideline from Chinese Taipei. Looking to see, shouting some instructions from the coaching staff of Chinese Taipei. We will be returning to the play momentarily. Looks like the dust has have settled. Hopefully both of the players from both of the teams are okay, right? We're at the tail end of this tournament, and we don't want to see those players to get any injuries, especially with how hard they've trained for this tournament.
Yeah, as we know, Chinese Taipei have spent 5 months on this campaign, and we mentioned that they have players from all over Chinese Taipei, but all committed to this team, commuting from, far off to train twice a week, plus have practice matches. And, that's no easy feat when you're commuting an hour, 2 hours one way. That's a big chunk of your time.
And you can just be extremely admirable about the effort and time they've all put into this, right? I know for a fact it's also similar to what Philippines experience, where it's just too much of a big country, too wide apart, where you take what you have as far as training goes. So props to Chinese Taipei to be able to make it work for them.
Certainly has been worthwhile. They're here up 9-5 in a big quarterfinal. A lot to play for here, this Asia Oceanic Ultimate Championships. And this mixed division wide open. We cannot wait. It seems like each quarterfinal is a really juicy matchup, John.
Indeed. We were just having the discussion. There's no clear-cut team that's going to run it or win it all so far.
There's no favorite. There's no favorite, right?
Indeed. And trying to peek at some of the other mixed division quarterfinals games that's happening. We'll give some update when we can. But right now, as we see here, Gona and Chinese Taipei, 9-5. We have Akala and Chinese team, 6-all. Philippines against Freak Show up 3 now with 8-5, and rounding it up with the quarterfinals match, Singapore against Supernova, where Singapore is trailing a point, 7-8 against Supernova. So again, really very tightly contested in this quarterfinal matchups.
Yep, very tight results. I mean, we don't know who started on offense, but it's either on hold or maybe a break. Philippines Freak Show, the biggest margin, Philippines taking the first half 8-5. But I'm sure Freak Show will have something to say about that. That is the 4th seed versus the 5th seed. And this one, Gona actually seeded number 20 coming into this tournament. Chinese Taipei seeded 7. So Gona certainly playing well beyond their expected seed, and I'm sure they'll be very pleased.
And here we go. Chinese Taipei will return to play number 7. Gives it to the middle, 49. Being able to get... Now 7 is getting trapped there. Again, this is the amazing defense. Oh, just momentarily lapsed there. Keeps it going for the score. Chinese Taipei with their 10th point. Cheeky high release pass there.
My goodness, number 7, Yu Shengpo, was just sitting in that corner next to the cone being like, throw it for me, waiting for the pancake catch. Chinese Taipei eventually wisen. They come to cover it, and the thrower looks away, but then she sneaks just a little bit behind, and the defender caught watching the disc to get that pop over the top. So I thought 7 was looked off, but really wise to stay with the play, realising that defender had overcommitted, and then getting the second opportunity.
Second breakpoint opportunity converted. Great start for Chinese Taipei in the second half there, Avril.
Yeah, and as I said, this point it was very clear. We saw here number 7, and she moves out, and then she sees the defender number 4, Anabuki, just staring at the disc and realizes, oh, there's a little pocket of space just behind these 2 defenders. I will make that mine. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed. Gona having no answers so far.
No, that glimmer of hope just before half, stamped out by Chinese Taipei. And as I said, this point it was clear. When the point started, the sideline were very vocal, were very loud. They had bookmarked this point to go, we are going to score this one. And waited back that D-line, especially after that prolonged injury call. You know, you've got one of your top D-line players
exiting the field
yeah,
there.
that's right, loud there, you know, having to take a breath. That's, that's a hard pill to swallow for Gona.
And here, as you can see, the excellent logo of the Japan Flying Disc Association. Excellent organization of this field, and we'll get back to this action. It looks like a match person defense going to be shown by Chinese Taipei. First of its own. Quick movement here for Japan. Number 5 sends it to the middle. This is Anabuki. Gives it to her teammate. Great movement to the other side, and they punch it in. 6 point and first point in the second half for Gona.
And a very efficient, tidy, clean hold was just what the doctor asked for. The doctor's working hard on that injury call. And the doctor's on Gona here saying, no problemo. We're going to heal this one up. We're going to seal the deal on an offensive point. Let's get the pressure straight back onto Chinese Taipei.
And that, we'll see if that's going to jumpstart their diesel engine so far as getting more points on the board for Gona. And I thought there, as we look at the replay, that excellent movement.
Yeah, I think the width in particular, look, Anabuki there being a real feature. She goes from that far sideline, comes across here, and then that beautiful swing and continuation. The timing of that downfield cut from Nagai Shuto there, perfectly timed, completely open throw on the break side.
You see here from Chinese Taipei momentarily trying to discuss strategy and probably discussing that how quick Gona was able to win, to score that, and that's not what they want, right?
And you can see here the Gona cheer squad getting loud, recognizing Chinese Taipei potentially winning the sideline battle, showing that they've got a cheer squad of their own and well coordinated. I like the yellow there, shining bright in the sun.
And probably that was the bus that we saw moving to in this field, the football bus for Gona, and it looks like they've rallied the young troops to cheer on for their team.
Absolutely, I'm sure all their support, not only the ones here visiting Kamisu City, but from their hometowns all over Japan. Very proud to watch on their team. And it seems like Gona, they've isolated this undercut, but Gona have shut down that first option and now their second.
And here again, they're looking really good with this match person defense so far. Ooh. Almost a Pochi defense there completed, but Chinese Taipei makes them pay. Here we go. Swing down the middle here to number 44. All to the other side now. Ooh, the threading pass there, not yet quite in. Oh, and a cheeky backhand pass is complete. Chinese Taipei, 11th point in this game.
They bring it up to 11-7. Chinese Taipei having to kind of sit and wait for the cuts to evolve. So not as easy as they've done it. You saw Gona there. First of all, I have to say credit to the flat marks and the slight adjustment in kind of coming in and poaching off into the lanes. That made the Chinese Taipei handlers have to pass backwards and reset before they could come forwards. And then I think the second part of the equation, you saw several times there were 2 Gona players, so the person marking the receiver and then someone else flashing in, right? And so there were several moments where the Gona players were centimeters away from the disc, right? So I think if they keep applying that same pressure, again, that presence, right? The fact that they're making bids, that they're right there with the disc, that's going to creep into Chinese Taipei's minds. And they're not going to take those first options. They're going to take some more risky ones and they're going to second guess themselves. So look, Gona, I think, making inroads here into the Chinese Taipei offense, but they just need to do it quickly because they're running a little bit short in terms of points left here.
Here we go now. Gona. At 75, Gorokano. Having some trouble. It looks like foul and looks will be accepted by the Chinese Taipei player, number 65, Zhang.
Really well coordinated defense by Chinese Taipei. You can see that the dump defense are shutting that out. So no easy backward passes.
Here goes Gorokano having some trouble here. Stall count is rising but able to send it over to Kurihara. Quick move into the other side. Gono, Kurihara punches there in the middle. Sends it to Kurokano. Kurokano to number 51, Kurihara for the score. Great response from Gona to get their 7th point.
Racing away there was Gona's offense. They've certainly come into an era where they've scored some really clean, confident offensive points. I think the confidence has really been a feature in the last little patch of this game. Certainly the cheer squad from the sideline giving that extra boost, helping as well.
And looks like, just look at the sideline from the earlier injury from Chinese Taipei. Looks like number 86, Chi Hyang Liao, is all okay right now. Glad to see that from him. So we'll see if he's going to be inserted anytime soon for Chinese Taipei to lead the charge in the defensive point.
So I was impressed with Chinese Taipei's defense that last point as well. I feel like the coordination was very well done. You saw the female matching player hold the disc for quite a high stall count, and that was because the dump, or the people marking the dump sets, they were clearly not allowing an easy reset backwards or sideways, and she had to wait for a very, very late cut come down from the stack just for the reset. So applying pressure in that way to kind of channel the disc into a direction that they wanted.
Great rolling pull there from Gona.
It's like they wanted to show off in front of their fans.
Indeed. And be able to set up defense right in front of their young squad. As you can see and hear them cheer as loud as they can, as despite how tiny can they be. And looks, here, swing to the middle here. That's number 7, Yu. Swing it, almost a lead there. But hey, able to get it back for them. Chinese Taipei having some troubles here. This could be their first turnover. Excellent defensive play from Gona. Chance for a break here. Quick movement so far. Urging his teammates to cut in. And they are able to get it so. Number 3, Nagai. Here goes number 6, Miyamoto. Miyamoto to number 25. Matsuhashi able to punch it in. Gona with their 8th point.
Incredible play. Gona D-line getting the opportunity that they've been building up to and now converting that break. As we said, it was that presence of those multiple close bids. Chinese Taipei eventually having an execution error and overthrow. Very, very rare to see from their O-line. And what a way to score there. Gona up and about. Cheer squad in full force. They are riding high on confidence.
First break point converted by Gona. As we look at the replay, excellent upline cut by number 25, Matsuhashi, sending it over to number 37, Azusa Shinohara. And let's see if they're going to continuously feature that match person defense there, Avril. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think I just want to point out firstly that last point of the first half, this was when they got their opportunity. This time they managed to get the break, but is it too late? That's the question. I think they're going to have to play this match defense shoulder to shoulder, keep making their presence felt, and force the error from Chinese Taipei because they've shown that they are not invincible.
Yes, probably not too late, I guess, to be able to feature that, but the question is, how fit is this Gona team going to be able to sustain that high-intensity match-person defense throughout this game?
Yeah, I don't think fitness is going to be an issue, right? Like, they're young athletes. They, play, train multiple times a week in different sports, so you've got your cross-training as well. I think it'll be, can they sustain this mental focus and energy for long enough?
Oh, that was a very tightly pass that was converted into a turnover. Gona again, looking for their second break opportunity. Swing it to the other side. You can hear the excitement from the Gona spectators as we take a momentary pause because of a call.
As I was saying, John, I think it's a matter of whether Gona can sustain this intensity but also sustain this focus for a prolonged period of time. Like, we've seen sparks of it, but then they kind of fade away again. So can this spark actually continue to burn? Or will Chinese Taipei's experience and level heads win out?
And here we go, number 3, Nagai, looking. The stall count is rising, but a threading pass. Layout bid is complete. Amazing play there from Gona. Oh, it looks like it's not yet in. Thought it was in for a second. As we get back to the action here. I thought that was in, but here we go. Gona. Number 3, Nagai. Oh, looks like a foul is going to be called on that mark. I thought for a second there, Avril, that was in with that layout.
That was an insane play. He got completely horizontal, 2 meters in the air.
And here we go, Nagai. Looking. This is going to be crucial. Oh, and almost a bit. It looks like a D, and a foul is going to be called.
Definitely contact. Yep, you're right. A foul is called. My goodness, this is heart in throats, John.
And I think we can sense the urgency between these two teams now in this point. They know how important this point is in terms of momentum, right,
yeah,
Avril?
It's a significant point here. Like,
as we get back to the action and look at another call.
Very interesting to see that Gona actually has quite a lot of people behind the disc. Like, before that came into play, there were actually 2 dumps almost in a row. So I wonder if they're isolating for like an away or a deep shot here, like we saw in the previous point going the other direction. So wouldn't be surprised if they almost like a flood play, like players flood to one side to isolate a specific person.
Here's Tomizawa here, looking. Again, stall count is rising, but able to pass it to his teammate, number 9. Gona having a little trouble here.
Stall count's high.
It looks like a call's going to be...
Yeah, there's a pick called. Yeah, there's a pick called. Looks suspiciously free in that front cone, and you can see the gaggle of players here.
And I feel like Gona's got to adjust their handler to cutter spacing, yeah. Right? It's making them hard to reset the disc.
Yeah, they're almost too close, which is bringing the defender's body kind of, shading a lot of angle.
And here we go, Nagai. Another contact again between these players. And we're noticing it's getting increasing as this game progresses. And you can see the game advisors now being really consistent to be coming in and out to really provide their observation. But we'll get back here again, Nagai.
I think there may have been a violation downfield as well. So.
Here's Nagai. Quickly sends it. Almost a D. Fakes it. And able to punch it in finally. Gona with a 9th point. Cheers and jeers for the team.
Look at Gona. They are up and about. Nonoka there, number 66. With a fantastic goal. Fantastic composure from this D-line to get up and big energy to earn possession, and a way to have cool heads as well to try and get that offensive chain linking up, completing. And, we started this half Chinese Taipei with 2 breaks straight. Now we have Gona absolutely answering the question, 2 straight breaks of their own and a clean one to boot.
And I can hear from the Chinese Taipei as he look at that layout bid that we thought for a second ago. That was clean from number 17, Sora Matsuhashi. And it's nice to hear a while ago Chinese Taipei sideline cheering on, and then for the Gona team, for the spectators, the young children in response, saying, our cheers can be more louder than yours.
Yeah, it's a cheer battle, isn't it?
I'm loving it. If you're just joining into the stream, this is the mixed division quarterfinals between Gona and Chinese Taipei. Tightly contested now with just a score of 9-11.
Yeah, it's a battlefield on the pitch, but also a battlefield in the cheer squads. A bit reminiscent of Bring It On, John, the movies, the cheerleading movies.
I definitely can't remember if I've watched it. I know that's one of those.
It's a bit of a chick
OG,
flick, isn't it?
yeah, it's one of those OG cheer dancing movies we've seen as we get back to the action here. Almost a D. We could sense that pressure again from Gona from this match person defense.
Yeah, you can see the doubt and the hesitation in the Chinese Taipei. This one's another overthrow.
Oh, they're able to great grab there from number 34, Ji Wang, to keep it alive. Ji Wang, floaty pass is secured. Number 36, Song. Number 7 here, Chinese Taipei. Dump is denied, but able to get that quick score. Gona a little disappointed there, but Chinese Taipei.
You feel a sense of relief there, right? So the O-line, you can see, like, you know, very diminutive, just like standard high fives. I think they're very relieved to get that point rather than up and about. So interesting to see the body language differences between the two teams now. Initially, Chinese Taipei very vocal, very confident, and now the, you know, tide has turned, the momentum shift is happening. Like I said, the question is, can Gona maintain this mental focus and intensity to continue applying pressure?
Indeed, and I think, yes, a sigh of relief for Chinese Taipei. As you look at the replay, easy work here, but you can see, amazing leaping ability from number 36.
Yeah, I think you see there's two high release shots in a row. They were floaty, and, you know, the receiver good enough to get up high, but it does mean that there was a very small moment of doubt and pressure. You know that the defender's going to come closing in on that and maybe potentially get a bid.
And here's Gona's offense trying to narrow the gap. Here's the guy. Sends it over. Looks like a travel's going to be called. And here we go. Number 15. Oh, and a forehand hawk is going to be complete. Signed, sealed, delivered for Gona on their 10th point.
Nagai, I feel like he was everywhere in that point. Reels that one in. I have to say, a beautiful put out into that back corner with plenty of space. And Nagai now, that is third goal. So he is near the top of the leaderboard from a stats perspective. So Gona's offensive line absolutely getting the job done. As we said, Nagai here. Some beautiful plays both in behind the disc in the middle of the field as well as up further, leading the charge for Gona.
And I think a good response from Gona, as you thought that the momentum might be going to Chinese Taipei, but as you can see, speed to lead the charge for Shuto Nagai to get his third goal. As you see the scoreboard here with the Japan Flying Disc Association logo, again, they've done a great job organizing this tournament despite the circumstances, especially the strong rains as we get back to the action here.
And again, a roller pull as an option. Chinese Taipei with the 3-male matching plays back. So the undercut is
I was going to say, looked off, but she was wide open, the Chinese Taipei player was. Nonetheless, able to swing it here to the other side. Oh, it looks like a turnover again. Gona with a chance. Number 25. Musahashi again here, waiting, looking. 36 sends it, rolling to the grass. Nagai is.
And Nagai now doubling up. Moved him across to this D line. And I think that's a good move, right? Because there's been chances for Gona when they've gained possession, but they haven't converted. So maybe bringing a little bit of O-line confidence.
Indeed, and here's number Musahashi. Musahashi dumps it and gets it back quickly, moving it to the other side to number 3. Number 3, backhand pass is complete. Gona rolling it in for their 11th point.
Gona, what a way to pin it back. That was an amazing play. Shuto Nagai, what a champion, backing up from that previous point. He was crucial. And, you know, sometimes bringing on an O-line player to have the extra composure and that extra confidence, high completion rate on the disc, that is crucial. That's a fantastic strategic call by Gona to make sure that they convert these rare opportunities.
And I was just going to say that looks like a timeout has to be in call for Chinese Taipei, and rightfully so. It feels like they're feeling that the momentum is slipping away now from their team. It's being caused by this excellent high-intensity matchup defense by Gona.
And in fact, Gona scoring that break means that there's only one break in it this game. So Chinese Taipei in total have had 4 break points, but the last one actually came at 10-5. That was a long time ago, it feels like it. Gona, they've actually managed to get 3 breaks back since Chinese Taipei had the last break. So again, big momentum shift here. It looks like Gona are managing to sustain that, and not surprised that Chinese Taipei have called a timeout at this point.
So if you're Chinese Taipei here, if you're put yourself in the coaching shoes, any adjustments here? I think it's, from my mind, it's more of just execution with the pass. Is this the only thing that they need to adjust as far as Chinese Taipei's offense goes? Or is there anything you feel that they need to do in response to this Gona's defense?
I think it's the mental game, to be honest. I think it's finding the optimal level of arousal, right? If you're over-aroused, you're going to make mistakes. If you're under-aroused, you're going to make mistakes. So you've got to find that flow, that zone, that perfect state. So with the offense, yes, recognize that the defenders are applying the extra presence. And so initially, I think they've been used to going for their first look and they just go bang, 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 bang down the field, right? So now it's okay to take a second to pivot, readjust, turn in your cut. So I think this is really cool to see Gona forcing Chinese Taipei to look at their second, third options, make them more uncomfortable, lower that completion rate. I think the wind has gusted up a tiny little bit, so that has brought a little bit of instability as well.
And here we go back here, Chinese Taipei, forehand pass. Oh, almost a bit there for number 1, Gona, but Chinese Taipei unable to reel it in. Number 34, Juyang able to pass it. Quick passes here. And this is what you want from Chinese Taipei, as a violation or pick is going to be called.
I think they've also changed up the structure here, John. You can see that the cutters, or the stack, is very, very far away, so they're allowing the 3-person handler weave here to happen. And I think that's actually a good thing, because it means that they've drawn the defenders' bodies well away from that underspace.
And here we go, but just like that, another turnover by Chinese Taipei. Gona, another chance for a break.
And this is the chance to level things up, John. This is crucial.
And here's number 7, tiptoeing and all for Gona. Sends it, threading pass to the middle. Great movement so far.
Who else but Nagai in the space?
Nagai doing it all for Japan. He's streaking deep here. Looking here. It would be a little too fast for him.
Oh, the wind just picked up and pushed that disc to the ground before Nagai could get his hands under it.
Here's Chu. Chu gives it back to his teammate. Inca, but you can see Gona defense trailing right behind them.
Every possession is contested right now, John. Chinese Taipei now.
Here's Chen. Oh, actually, it's Sung. Almost a bit again. Number 34, Jongyang. Looking. Forehand pass is complete. Right here on the other side.
It's on. Oh, he didn't shoot.
Again, probably the hesitation from Chinese Taipei. Creeping in. Mental. Tumbling catch here from Chinese Taipei as they look to settle it down. Chinese Taipei. Backhand is complete to the other side. Forehand, laser focus, just too strong. Another opportunity for Gona. First time we've seen multi-turnovers, at least for both of these teams.
Yes. Every single point before, there's only been maximum of 1 turnover per team. This time, Chinese Taipei looking for that narrow inside flick channel. Gona obviously in the way. It looked like a clean D from our side, but it is on the opposite sideline. So they're going to have a chat about this. Always difficult in the heat of the moment, John, to know exactly what happened.
Indeed, that, but again, you can sense the desperation from Gona as they increase. You can see the defense from the marking from the cutters and handlers. You see them trailing behind each of those Chinese Taipei player. And probably that's creeping in the head of Chinese Taipei.
That ghost presence, right? We talked about it. You know, the fact that you're getting closer and closer. You may not get the outright block, but then you have those almost phantom Ds, right? The extra perceived pressure. And perceived pressure is absolutely what Chinese Taipei are feeling right now.
And you can sense that at the sidelines. You look at the players. Earlier in the game, you can see the smiles and confidence, but now a little crack of that confidence showing for Chinese Taipei.
Yeah, like we talked about the body language earlier. I think that goes to show a lot. And I think the sideline as well, it feels like the voice from the Chinese Taipei cheer squad have been silenced by Gona. And I think also a little bit of home crowd advantage as well. You can get some extra bodies down. As you said, the mini-me's and the young kids here enjoying a fantastic show. But what a day to be down here watching some incredible frisbee in this quarterfinal matchup. Like we said, the mixed division is wide open. It looks like anyone can win on any given day. But Shuto Nagai, incredible in this half, John.
Indeed, he's been doing it all for Japan here. Nagai pulling up all the stops, both defensively and offensively. Layouts, last-minute bids to be able to get it back for Gona. And we're having an extended conversation here again. And as you can see, the young squad, the young Ching squad from Gona with the yellow, bright yellow jerseys flash on the screen, blinding my eyes.
Yeah, going for gold, Gona, in this big match. Of course, the winner will progress through to the semi-finals. And let's have a look at the replay now. So we see Chinese have this narrow inside channel. It looked just like a disc deflection, and the play had already been made. The disc had gone behind the two players. I mean, yes, there was some contact. Did that affect the ability to play? Yeah, look, translation and discussion. I think, look, discussion's been going for some time. Even with the translation kind of leeway, it's going to be a contest, right? This has to be a contest if this goes back to the previous possession.
But I would have to agree there, Avril. I felt that, yes, there was contact, but I felt it was after the play where there was no chance for the...
Yeah, the disc here. Yeah, the disc deflector, you see, it goes beyond both players. And I actually think, well, it looks like to me that Gona made contact with the disc, deflected the disc, and then it hit the disc, I think, hit the Chinese Taipei player. But anyway, that's up to them to discuss whilst we have a look at the results or progress results so far from the other quarterfinals. So Akala versus China. Akala are up 9-8. And Philippines, they're closing in. They are up 14-8 on Freak Show from Singapore. Whereas we have Team Singapore up against Supernova. They are closing the game 14-10. And of course, this game featuring Gona, Mixed Club from Japan versus Chinese Taipei at 11-12. Chinese Taipei currently up one break, but certainly Gona with the momentum coming back.
And I think this is the reason why the discussion here is taking a long time, because this is a crucial point here.
Yeah.
Avril. Anyone who scores this, if Chinese Taipei, it gets them a little closer of comfort, a little buffer, so to speak. But if, on the other hand, Gona, they were able to give 12 all the pressure in.
Yeah, it's back on serve if they get the break 12 all. And as you mentioned before the discussion here, this is the first time that a team has turned over the disc more than once in a possession. So this is the first multi-turnover point. 3 turnovers so far in this point.
It looks like it's going to be a contested.
It was always going to be a contest. Like when the conversation is dragging out, it's always going to go back.
And here we go. Chinese Taipei. This is number 36 Song.
You can hear, so the Gona sideline cheer squad right there.
And here we go.
Intimidate Chinese Taipei.
Here's Chinese Taipei. Lateral cut is complete. Being marked by Nagai from Japan. Someone streaking. Oh, great zigzag cut there, but not able to get a cheeky pass there. And it's complete for the score. Chinese Taipei with their 13th point.
My goodness. That was nerves of steel from Chinese Taipei. Just when we thought it was going to be the first time they turned the disc over more than twice, that calls a contest and goes back. But kudos to the efforts of Gona. I think that was a really tough call. Looked like a clean block to us, and they could have leveled at the break, but they go back to work. They've got to refocus now because they've got to focus their energy, get a nice, smooth, clean hold here, and then get to work on D. And I'm not surprised we see Shuto Nagai back on the line, backing up. This must be his 5th or 6th point straight, John.
Indeed, and I think as we look at the replay here, an excellent pass from Jun Yang, able to squeeze it in to Yu, who finally sends it to his teammate for the score. And here, Chinese Taipei off with the pull.
That's a really nice float on that one, and one of the only kind of high floaty pulls we've seen, actually. Nagai making his presence known, goes up line, quick disc movement, classic of comfort offense here.
Here's Shimada. Shimada sends it to the other side, to Nagai. Nagai.
Pick called.
This will be with Matsuhashi, who's had 4 assists in this game, so look to see if he's going to increase this assist. You can sense the nervousness from Gona here, and here's Matsuhashi. Stall count is rising, but able to give a great forehand to Miyamoto. Miyamoto gets it, gives it back to Miyano, or actually Matsuhashi.
There's a call here. I think the call was actually made by the defense.
Indeed, and here's Shi Yang Liao from Chinese Taipei. I think it's the first time we're able to see him. Good to see him in the D-line for Chinese Taipei, but back here, number Matsuhashi. Matsuhashi. Great poaching defense there from Chinese Taipei to deny that swing. And looks like she's going to stay in that middle of the portion, so Gona's gonna punish that, right? And you know, rightly so.
Oh, what a beat!
Indeed, right there. Forehand is gonna be complete here. Number 51, Korihara. Nagai to Korihara for the score.
What an incredible effort for Gona. There was competition on every single possession. But just when you thought the chips were down, Gona rise from the ashes. And you can hear the noise, the confidence they have. They know they secured this hold to bring it to 12-13. This is it. This is the time that they have to try and preg this break back. Woo.
Just take a notice there as we are out of breath. This exciting match. As you look at the replay, just right here, you notice that the Chinese side player, female matching player, was poaching in that middle portion. So the Gono player on the other side noticed that, forced that Chinese side player to get out of that poaching zone. Excellent, excellent adjustment there from Gona.
Yep, agreed. I think Chinese Taipei made it a very conscious effort to clog up that open side under space, right? So it meant that Gona had to move backwards. But the problem is they moved backwards and then immediately moved forward to change the angle of attack, which meant the Chinese Taipei defenders were out of position, and in the end, essentially a one-on-one isolation because the defenders hadn't been able to readjust after that change in angle backwards and then sideways movement. So timeout called. I'm not surprised because, like we said, this is the point. This is the point that going to have to get the break back.
Indeed, like, this is it for them. Obviously, it's still a race to 15, but again, being able to have that comfort zone that it's not just the last point of Chinese Taipei, if they're able to get the break of opportunity here converted. So, yes, do agree that this is now or never as far as Gona's defense goes.
Yeah, won't be surprised if Nagai is back on, and maybe this timeout was designed to give him a bit of a rest and get some water down. You can hear the energy. Like I said, the body language is very different. You know, Gona up and about, shoulders back, heads up tall, chins up. Chinese Taipei kind of just, I don't know, like pretty mellow. They look a bit, I don't know, They look nervous. You can hear them getting the cheers going, but certainly with not as much intent as before, John.
Indeed. And just looking at the sideline here for Chinese Taipei, I can hear some deep breaths from them.
Yeah, it's
sensing the moment. This is it. This is their time to shine.
Yeah, but this is very subdued. Seems like a half-assed effort, to be honest. So, I don't know, like, if they... Ooh, that's a bobble on the dump.
Correct. And there's going to be a travel call as he was suspiciously open too long.
Yeah, so Chinese Taipei offered for male matching handlers and female matching players upfield.
And here we go. Almost a tight mark. Nagai, excellent mark on the hander. Gonna force almost a D there. Chinese Taipei, floaty pass, able to secure it here. Looking downfield. Number 7, Yu, looking. Backhand is complete. It's gonna be punched through. Chinese Taipei with 14.
Chinese Taipei showing that they can hold their nerve. What we thought was maybe a subdued sideline. Maybe that's what the O-line wanted. Maybe the O-line just wanted some quiet, serene space. They're like, you know what, just let us do our own thing. We got this, you know? Just like the first half, I think they rifled through that pretty well. I mean, there was some pressure from the Gona defense, but certainly not quite as close as before. So I think they made some good decisions. And what was really interesting was that they set up the 3 male matching handlers in the backfield and then the 4 female matching players upfield. And the female matching players got to work here. You see here, number 36 dumps back and she goes up line. So it'll evolve when you see working later on. There we go. So she's come from the backhander space, works hard to get back in the stack and is there for that break side continuation. So very well done to Sung Wei Chen, number 36. That is her second goal to go with the assist.
A little look of concern from the young cheering squad of Gona, but again, they still a lot of time here as it's a race of 15, so Gona. This will be Matsuhashi gonna lead it for the offensive line of Gona. Rightfully so. What a matchup here between Matsuhashi of Gona and Liao from Chinese Taipei. Oh, excellent backhand pass right near the end zone. Floaty pass gets it to go for the score.
Gona, they do peg one back. That is 13-14. And it will now be game point to Chinese Taipei. After all the different momentum shifts in this game, Chinese Taipei remain up 1 break point. Certainly, all those breaks in the early part of the game has put them ahead, but only just with this rising Gona tide. Cheer squad onside. Let's see if they can manage to peg another one back.
Oh, amazing pass there. And the last second diving pass at all. And great concentration from number 10, Ryo Kobayashi.
Fantastic way for Kobayashi to reel that one in. And you see the sideline there from Chinese Taipei. I think the O-line preferred the quiet actually from the sideline. Probably helps them to remain focused.
And not surprised again. Who's there for Japan? Shuto Nagai. Because this is it. All the marbles in.
Ooh, and that's a fantastic ball. Bounces out of the hands. Delays the pickup slightly. And 2 very good pulls to force Chinese Taipei to start deep in their end zone.
Here we go. Ooh. Almost a D there. Poach from Gona. But unable to get it back. Trapped here on the sideline for Chinese Taipei. A layout bid. No good. Chinese Taipei. Forehand, no good. Excellent marking so far. Sends it deep. Is it gonna be it? No good! Gona with a chance for a tie game.
Incredible play. Last gasp effort. That dump defense just covered all of those straightforward options. In the end, having to go for a high stall ditch attempt. had a receiver in this space, but way to get the D, as we see it, the dump defense all completely covered. Still must have been 8-9 here. Gestures to come under, having to opt for the way. We see here way to get up high by shooting the guy.
And here we go back here, Gona looking. I saw Nagai streaking deep there, but opts to get in. Able to get that disc back. Continues the play. Looking downfield. A lot of movement so far between teams. Gona. All alone, Kobayashi was. It looks like a pick is going to be called. Hold on in your seats, people. Just when you thought Chinese Taipei was going to win it. Too high of a pass there, Avril. Matsuhashi calmly walks into the field, pointing and giving some directions.
Yeah, I'd say Shuto Nagai and Yotsuba Anabuki, they're going to be the ones to target. I reckon they're going to be an assistant goal in this point. And now just working out where the players are going to start from. As you see, Anabuki is actually isolated here in this open side space.
And I feel the play here is the guy gonna streak deep.
Yep, for Anabuki.
It
Oh,
looks like
gets to the ground.
almost able to get it, number 4, Anabuki. Able to get it here. Matsuhashi. Pick is called. I can sense where Matsuhashi is wanting to get that disc. And looks like it's Matsuhashi Nagai looking downfield to see to get that point. Let's watch out for that play if it's gonna progress. And this is where your star rises. It looks like Matsuhashi is one of them. He's looking downfield so far. Stockholm is rising, able to give it to number 51.
It's a violation, I think. So a couple of calls just holding up some of that flow and momentum, really. Gona, having done all the hard work to earn possession, they're going to have to work all the way up the field. You're saying a guy.
Ooh, cheeky pass. Able. Oh, looks like it's going to be a D. Excellent block there. Snatches from the Grands.
Oh!
Another layout bid there. Gona. Right at the edge of the end zone. Is this it? Chinese Taipei. Able to punch it in. But looks like a call.
Gosh, twists and turns, John. Are we ever going to see this point finish? So, not quite sure what the call was. Certainly forced a high throw with some float. Defenders having time to get under it. Looks like a pretty clean reception, so it must have happened much earlier in the
Take a look at the replay of that excellent snatch from the air.
And again, the small gust of wind here, just slightly advantaging Chinese Taipei. Just pushing the disc up at the last second. And we see here just a small ball to complete this one again. High up. Okay, so I'm not sure if the foul happened way earlier, you know, in terms of as the cut was happening, or they thought that they also had a bit in the air and were impeded to compete. But I wouldn't be surprised if it's another lengthy discussion, John. And you know what my thoughts are on that. It should go back to the last possession if you're going to have, you know, not be able to agree on the same perspective.
But what would we say about this playoffs, right? Defense is going to win championships. Excellent defense from number 34, Chang Junyang from Chinese Taipei, snatching it up from the air.
And it does feel like Chinese Taipei, so I think that foul was called because he thought he had a bid. I don't know. So you see the Chinese Taipei contingent here listening in earnestly on the outcome of this result. It might be game over and a ticket into the semi-finals, or will it go back with the contest having to replay the point? But you got to remember, right, that Chinese Taipei, their D-line did all the hard work in the first part of this game, right? They went up 4 breaks before Gona got any breaks back. And so it feels like they're really holding on for dear life. And although the offense has not been quite as clean, they've been able to gain possession back when they have lost the disc.
So just some update as we take a few seconds here. Singapore national team wins it against Supernova with a score of 15-11. So whoever wins here will go against the Singapore national team And looks like here we get back to the action for Chinese Taipei.
So this is what they're playing for, a ticket to the semi-finals where they will face off the Singapore national team.
And here we go, Chinese Taipei. A little, not a little rather, but a foul.
Again, marking infraction, which has been prevalent in this game.
That will be Shotaro Miyamoto with that foul caused by Gona.
You know, I think the prolonged discussion in the stoppage actually advantages Chinese Taipei.
Exactly, and here's number 34. Again, another lengthy discussion. Rightfully so, because a lot is in the line here, right? It's either win or go home, as we have some of the WIFDIF representatives as well here and other spectators as they carefully watch what's going to transpire in this moments.
Yeah, I think it's hard as a defense to really amp up your energy because after these prolonged discussions and timeouts, you kind of have to let the energy simmer. It's going to be very, very tricky for Gona to extend this game. But, hey, we've actually seen them get those Ds on those last pass options. They've done it before, so they can do it again, John.
Immediately. That's a great observation there to bring up. Again, never say die for Gona. In this game, it's prevalent.
And I feel like this game deserves a unit first point finish, John.
Does indeed. But Chinese Taipei will have something to say to that as they really want to punch it in now. Probably to avenge for their Supernova team who lost to Singapore earlier. But let's focus back here to the action. Chinese Taipei. This is number 34. Jun Yang. Number 11 gets it in. Is it good? Is it good? It is finally good for Chinese Taipei. Off to the semifinals.
Chinese Taipei reigns supreme in this quarterfinal. All the hard work done in the first part of the game. Their D-line asserted their dominance, managing 4 clean breaks, in fact. The D-line, once gaining possession, never looking back. The O-line, dominant to start. Did turn over just a couple of times. Gona had those opportunities. They pegged 3 of those breaks back, but just not enough to get the last one level. But Gona can hold their heads proud. This young squad, bright futures ahead. They'll bring this experience, and I'm sure next time they're going to come back with more mental consistency to be able to stay with these elite teams and push them to the very end.
That's Chinese Taipei being led by number 11, Zhu Xianghe, with 4 assists and a goal. But to your point, Avril, Chinese Taipei, as you see the screen, excited to be able to move to the next part of this match or playoffs match. They will go against Singapore and Gona. As you see them, heads down for sure, but they should definitely be proud of their accomplishment, being seated lower than what they expected, but able to punch through for a playoff match.
Yeah, exceeding. There's a seeded 20 coming to this match, so to make the quarterfinals and make a real push for the semifinals, like we said, bright futures ahead for these multi-talented, multi-sport athletes. And as we said from the other results, Singapore defeated Supernova in the corresponding quarterfinal. So it'll be a Singapore versus Chinese Taipei semi-final on this side of the draw. On the top half, the Philippines got through, beating Freak Show 15-9. And the other quarter still in progress, Akala versus China 11-12. So plenty more action on the stream. We have a women's pre-semi-final coming up soon.
And this has been an exciting start of playoff matchups here live from Camiso City. We'll be back after a short break. My name is Jonathan Santos with Avril Tam. Live from Camiso, this is the Asia Oceanic Championships.